Welcome to the Beasts of the NFC East podcast. I am your host, Sean Gnitzcavich, with my co-host, Jeremy Goode. And week 12 is over, and couldn't have ended sooner because I'm feeling like ass, as Brian Burns said. And also, I wouldn't say soft as shit. I don't think I am. But the Giants are soft as shit, in the softest of it. The worst kind. The seepy, awful, disgusting, because that's what the Giants are. Disgusting at this point. But enough about me and my misery. Jeremy Goode. What is good, Jeremy?
I'm happy myself. I mean, I feel for you, but things are just going well. Obviously, knock on wood, of course, but Saquon puts up 302 yards from scrimmage yesterday. Eagles smacked the Rams on Sunday Night Football. Best offensive game of the season from them. Defense was also great. They get separation because the Commanders lose again, and they are looking like frauds.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, good week.
Yeah, good week for you. Bad week for the Giants altogether. Good week for the Cowboys, I guess. Well, I wouldn't say altogether because the Titans won. And you know what? My friends here living in Nashville, Titans fans, very stoked about it. Good for them. You know, I think they still even have a little bit of faith in Will Levis. A little bit. I mean, he still made a couple mistakes. But hey, we moved to number 2 in the Tankathon. And honestly, my brother and I were looking at the schedule for the Jaguars, and they have to play the Titans twice still.
There you go.
There's a chance the Giants get the number 1 pick. But guess what? There's not like a pure number 1 overall pick, like clear-cut quarterback. I'm still on the Cam Moore. Well, I've been a little bit between Jalen Milroe, and I thought Jaime Devito might win us some games, and we might move back. But you're an Alabama fan. Honestly, Jalen Milroe, I think, might come back to school. He kind of is playing a little crappy. And
I think there's a clear-cut quarterback in this draft.
I think it's Cam Ward, in my opinion. Or do you think it's Shador?
I think it's Shador, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the Giants do too, especially if we
I think the problem is with Shador is he is a little testy, and I get why any team, especially the Giants, not especially the Giants, but just because the Giants they're going to be picking early, I get why teams would be concerned about that going into drafting him. But I think in terms of quarterback play, and if you have to crown one quarterback as the best, I think it's Sanders by a good bit. I don't think he's the best we've seen, obviously, come out since in recent years for quarterbacks, but I think he's the best in this class.
Yeah, I think he probably is the most well-rounded. I think that Cam Ward has maybe a higher ceiling. He's more exciting for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not draft season yet, but that's where my head's at. Cause if you're looking at the sad reality of the Giants, you gotta be looking for some silver lining, and that's the draft order at this point. Yeah. Anything else you want to get into for this week before we just discuss these cruel, harsh, terrible realities of the New York Giants and some of the bright spots of the Eagles and whatnot? Or should we just get right into it?
Yeah, let's jump right into it.
All right, let's start off with, hey, Tommy Cutlets. Yeah, Cutlets are better than turkey. Yeah, let's get all excited. Tommy DeVito's going to turn the franchise around. No, he's not. He wasn't ever going to. What were you expecting with Daniel Jones being released the Friday before the game? It's these players are human. There's distractions within the building. The Giants, another home loss, haven't held a lead in a game since we beat the Seahawks in week 4 maybe? The Giants lose 30-7. Not only do we lose 30-7, the locker room, the team is giving up. Like I said to start the show, Malik Neighbors says they're soft as shit. I kind of agree. As a team, yes, I think we are. Brian Burns says that we're ass. I agree. Right now we are. Another game with no sacks. We still have no interceptions, which is, by the way, the NFL longest streak, or no interceptions since week 1. And the week 1 interception was a Darius Muasau random Sam Darnold chucking up in the air interception that was just like a gimme. But yeah, we haven't had an interception in 10 games, which is tied for the NFL record. And you know what? I mean, Cooper Rush is a good one to break it, but the way the Giants are playing, I don't even see that happening next week.
Mhm.
for Thanksgiving. I'd be very thankful for it. And like I said, no sacks. What the heck is going on, dude? Okay, listen, I declined your call 4 times. Phone's going that way. I'm frustrated as hell, dude.
I know.
Um,
How dare they?
well, dude, it's my. He wants to use my washing machine. It's like, dude, I'm in the middle of something, man. Like, I'll tell you who needs a washing machine: the Giants to clean up their act.
Well,
Let's get into it.
neighbors also said it's not a quarterback issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't, and I kind of agree, man.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest issues here is, and it's sad, and I think that people are realizing it because when Daniel Jones is gone, you lose your scapegoat, you know,
Oh
and
yeah.
now it's back on Shane, back on Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll's play calls have not been amazing. We're finally charging the Tyrone Tracy Wildcat play. I think everybody saw that coming, you know, and loses another fumble at the goal line. Like, what the hell, man? It's and I love Tyrone Tracy. The Giants had 3 first downs in the first half. 2
Mhm.
of those were on Tyrone Tracy runs. There was 17 first downs in the first half for the Bucks. The first quarter was 2 drives, which was a majority the Bucks opening drive, which they took it all the way down, and then
Yep.
the Giants struggling. Malik Neighbors, like the reason why you're watching the games as a Giants fan at this point, you don't even really want to win, but you want to see your young core play well. Malik Neighbors doesn't get a single target in the first half, I believe. I know he didn't have a single reception in the first half. Then it comes out of the second half, and Brian Dable's like, oh, well, maybe we should throw the ball to Malik Neighbors. So there's like the first 3 passes, I think, are all to Malik, 3 catches, and tough
Mhm.
ones too, because like they're not great throws by
Right.
Tommy DeVito, and honestly, not great schemed up plays either. Uh, Dude, Jesus Christ, dude, leave me alone. Okay. And the Giants have a total of 245 yards on offense. Saquon Barkley has a total of 255 yards just rushing. He has over 300 yards in offense.
I'm gonna cross it off the list of things I was gonna mention. Glad you got
That's
to that.
okay. Because I just want to bring up all these things because I think
Oh yes.
like my friends are like, you're in a rebuild. No, it's a tear down. We're in a tear down. I think we're
Yes.
back. We're back to, I don't know. Joshi needs to go. Leonard Williams. Like, yeah, I know that we got a second round pick from him. That's awesome. Like, I thought that was great. And that is the rebuilding. Like, we got rid
Yep.
of some players. Leonard Williams getting older, but he had 2.5 sacks yesterday. That just adds to the
Yeah.
Giants' loss. Xavier
Mhm.
McKinney has his 7th interception yesterday. That one, I think, like, I know that there might have been a little bit of discomfort. I know Xavier McKinney tweeted a bunch of stuff that seemed cryptic about the Giants, which makes me think internally there's more than just like I think that the players hate Joe Shane too. On top of that, because I
Mhm.
think they're all in disgust of letting Daniel Jones go. There's a rumor that Daniel Jones said he was willing to waive his injury clause if he was able to remain the Giants starting quarterback for the rest of the year. Which, if you think, I guess that's kind of a
Wow.
good deal. I don't know how official
Yeah.
that is, but I know that was something. That's why he didn't step away from the team immediately when he was demoted on Monday. I don't
Mhm.
know exactly what's going on there.
That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it's and Tommy DeVito played like the Tommy DeVito that we expected. Like, he plays safe, he takes sacks, took a bunch of sacks.
Yep.
Uh, wasn't really the spark. I don't think in any means necessary was he a spark. Like, the defense is quitting on you. Bobby Okereke, who's a team leader and who has been a professional throughout his entire Giants tenure, was giving up on plays. You got Bucky Irving too. There was the race between the rookie running backs for the most
Yep.
yards, and I believe that Bucky Irving took it over. I'm just double checking here. Nah,
87.
Tyrone Tracy is still the rookie rushing leader. Thank God. Even though we gave up to him after that fumble, which I get, you got to kind of take him out of the, this has been 2 games in a row where he's fumbling on the goal line or fumbling. in
Yes.
big moments. Like, I get you have to take him off the field, but he is our best option at running back. And I'm glad that
Mhm.
towards that last drive, you put him back in, even though we had no chance of winning. But it's just, you'd be kidding yourself if you think that Devin Singletary and Eric Gray are better than Tyrone Tracy at this point.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the Giants, Shane Bowen needs to go. I mean, Shane Bowen, I didn't like him as a hire. It was very obvious that on Hard Knocks, he wasn't the number one candidate for the Giants. I don't know. I don't know. Tell me what you think about this, because I think Joe Shane needs to go. I think Joe Shane, especially the players seeing guys like Leonard Williams and Xavier McKinney and Saquon Barkley go off, and Sean Robinson too last week, the defensive tackle. Like, we get rid of Leonard Williams and then we don't
Yep.
replace any defensive tackle depth. We get Jordan Phillips, who we trade before the season even starts, to the Cowboys. You know, like, what did you think was going to happen? Dexter Lawrence is all pro, and yes, we bolstered the defensive line with Brian Burns, but we still need somebody else on that interior, especially when Dexter Lawrence is like 350 pounds and needs to take a breather every once in a while. Like, it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
this sucks, man. So what do you
Yeah.
think? Do you think clear entire house right now, or?
I would. I guess if there's a way to bring back Daboll and he can get his own quarterback, maybe run it back. If you do that, you sort of have to give him another 2 to 3 years, I think, which I don't love. Uh, yeah, Shay's got to go though. And also there's so many reasons why he has to go. The biggest one, probably in my opinion, honestly, would be letting Saquon walk, letting the whole thing happen, paying Daniel Jones the way he did, letting Saquon walk. It's just every move is so consequential in such bad ways. Saquon was such a talent, of course, fan favorite in New York, probably one of the most popular players in the NFL as a whole. To have that go down is just inexcusable. Every decision he's made has been bad this year going forward this season. The offensive line was worst ever last year. It got a little better this year, but it's still not that good. And he's put money towards it.
To be fair,
Move on.
Jermaine Illuminor went out last week too, and
Yes,
last yesterday, in the middle of the
true.
game, trying to
Correct.
play on Thanksgiving, but we'll see.
Correct. He did get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would try to clear house. I guess ultimately, and maybe there's something with Daboll, but I also just don't want to like. You could do better than Daboll. You could do someone who's ready now, who's hungry now, who's younger, who's more innovative, who
Maybe the
it's
Bucks OC, honestly, Liam going. I mean, I don't know.
yeah, the
Seems to
guy
be drawing up some good plays for the Bucks.
few guys in Houston that I like. There's some guys with the Saints that I like. You could just do better. And we've seen what Daboll's done. Not impressive. The whole Josh Allen thing really helped his career. He did good work at Alabama too. But as a head coach, I just haven't been impressed. But yeah, Joe Shane, it's just awful. It's not going to get better either. Like you'll take
I don't
his
think.
draft class, you'll
Yeah.
take his draft class this year, but just get you like just move on. There's no I don't know any redeeming qualities about him. He's
No.
embarrassing. He misses so badly too on so many uh pickups, trades, guys he loses become stars elsewhere. McKinney, Barkley. Oh, it's just like everybody
Yikes,
gets
man.
better when they leave here. And like guys who like weren't good, like guys who like might not have been that good with the Giants, not the Giants' fault, just because they weren't good players, they might go elsewhere and they become better. Other teams
Hey, Daniel
develop them.
Jones, man. I swear. I mean, and I'll tell you what. I'm actually rooting for Daniel Jones a little bit. I saw
Yeah,
something about the Raiders, saw stuff about the Cowboys. I also saw.
right.
I think that's all rumors at this point. And I tell you what, every time Jordan Schultz reports about an anonymous player, I'm like, you could have just made that up, because I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't really believe any of that bogus. Like, if there's no name behind it, then what's the validity to the report? Um, But yeah, I'm rooting for Daniel Jones. I know that we were talking about how cool it would have been for him to go to the Cowboys
I
and
would have
play us
loved
on
that
Thanksgiving.
actually.
I still want that, but I don't know. Cooper Rush actually looked pretty good. We'll get to that, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Malik Neighbors is pissed. He should be,
Yes.
not getting the ball. Like this is like his. This could be his year to shine too, even as a rookie. And I know you don't want to like wear him out, which I think we did in the first 3 weeks, and that kind of led to his concussion. Um,
Yeah.
but like he's a superstar. We want to see what we have in him. I don't know. If Tommy DeVito is the best, if this guy is that much better than Drew Lock, I want to see how awful Drew Lock is. But I do think maybe we should have went for Drew Lock with Drew Lock to start. I think that
Yeah.
that pissed off the locker room too. And I don't know if that was maybe a John Mara thing. Some people are saying that John Mara wanted to sell tickets, so he wanted Tommy DeVito. Which I'm
Right.
not gonna lie, I think does maybe spark some hype in the MetLife crowd, especially for some people that are just more into the hype than
Maybe
they are to
Mara.
the
I always thought Mara was a smart guy, though. I always thought that he was like a step above most owners, like because like he also knows that he's paying one of his backups 5 million, so it's like maybe get that out there. And I don't know, it's just it's just I don't know. This might be going too far. I don't just like I don't want to be mean to Tommy DeVito. It is what it is with him. He's just like a meme at this point, and it's funny, the whole this stuff and the whole fan stuff
Oh
with
yeah, and
the
Baker Mayfield doing the
yeah, what that was, yeah,
yeah.
that
After he
was a
flips into the end zone, that was fucking
mega
beautiful.
slap in the face to
Beautiful.
those New York fans. My God,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't. Yeah, that was that was rough. I felt bad actually for fans who were there for the Giants, but after that,
Mhm.
but like he's just like a meme, and like yeah, he's not gonna like you said, he's not gonna turn the ball over. He's gonna be very careful. He's gonna be smart in that case, but he's not gonna take shots downfield, and ultimately he's gonna throw for 185 yards a game, which is you just need more. Obviously, it's hard to expect more because of his skill set. So at the same time, while like it's, I guess if you're a Giants fan, you're embarrassed by yesterday. I don't know what more. Like maybe the
Yeah.
defense can play better. Maybe the offense can give you a little boost more
Defense
than
is
they did.
quitting,
But
man. That's the thing. I
yeah,
hope I hope that since next week like it's going to be nationally televised, everybody's counting us out. Like if you're Brian Daboll, you have to first off, this might be your last play. And I
coach
don't
for
want to
your
get too
career.
much into it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like this might be your last shot as the Giants head coach, maybe as a head coach in general. Like make some noise, make it happen. Like get your team fired up. If they have doubts about you for cutting Daniel Jones and for not giving Drew Lock, I think that pissed a lot of people off too, is for not playing Drew Lock because Drew Lock was signed, he was guaranteed this, he
yeah,
was the number 2 quarterback all year. I know he played poorly in like some limited reps too, but I mean, and I know I was saying, oh, Tommy DeVito looked better than him in preseason. Yeah, it's preseason. He was also playing like lower strings when Tommy DeVito got in.
yeah.
Like, and it wasn't like some game breaking play either. Like, yeah, man, it's
Yeah, I
I
think
don't know.
going back to my point, maybe this is a stretch. I think the locker room, yeah, obviously the locker room seems from what we've heard, it's a disaster. Yeah, I think that I don't know if they look at DeVito. I think they respect him, but I think they might just look at his ability to start as goofy for what has transpired with the whole cutlet stuff. And yeah, it goes a long way. You see a lot of healthy locker rooms that back all the players, and that's it's amazing. Even the backups, backup quarterbacks, the punters, and stuff like that. And so it's a big deal. Like it's a big deal for that kind of chemistry and camaraderie for a team. And yeah, that's a bad locker room right now. And it's a shame because there's so many games left. I think their season just like if you could just like forfeit a season and not proceed going forward, this is a team. There are other teams who definitely need the two over the year, but like this is a team that I
Yeah,
think really could use that.
yeah, I expect dude, because I've been rooting for like the Giants for they get a higher draft pick and everything,
Yeah,
but like the thing is that this is going to happen. Your team is going to fall apart. It's going to become unwatchable. Like I'm rooting for these competitive losses, even in those. like with each one that goes on, like the next game, they come in with less and less drive and less
Right.
competitive spirit because they're just getting broken, man, just broken. So like it's hard to see your team, especially like star players and team leaders. You know, even Dexter Lawrence said we're soft. He didn't say the other part like Malik Neighbors did, but honestly, I mean, what Malik Neighbors is saying, I get it. He's young. He needs to be media trained. People are saying, but also like he's speaking for the Giants fans. You know, it's true.
Yeah, I think that
Like,
I agree with your point. I think he definitely as a teammate, let's let's be a little more scripted with what the team should expect you to say. But I get the frustration too,
yeah,
especially a guy who's
yeah,
no go
and
ahead.
like you said, that quote, you know, we lost with Daniel Jones. We lost the same way with Tommy DeVito. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter quarterback. And that, yeah, like you said, I think that's a shot, maybe a little bit on Brian Daboll, and I
Oh,
haven't been
completely.
impressed
Oh,
with him.
completely. It's
But
great. It's great if you're DeVito too, and you hear a guy like Neighbors say that. Oh my God,
mm,
that's the best thing you could have possibly heard.
yeah, he could have definitely thrown him under the bus. But
Yeah.
I think the targeting him in the second half, like that just needs to happen. You know,
Yeah, I never
um,
get. I get how some game plans get away from some coaches here and there. Not targeting Neighbors at all in the first half is just stupid. I don't
especially
know.
dude, the Bucks defense isn't as good as they've been,
Yeah.
especially in the past, like passing offense, they've been relatively weak. I do want to bring up the sacks too, because like 3 of the sacks came from interior defenders, which just isn't good. Especially, I
Yep.
mean, it doesn't help that our bookend tackles are Evan Neal, who honestly, you know, I don't know the exact stats. I know on one of those sacks, I think it was the Kalijah Cansey one, even though he's an interior defender, I know that Evan Neal, I think, missed an assignment because I just saw him chasing him, try to catch up with him as he rushed towards Tommy DeVito
Yeah.
to sack him. Um, yeah, and but it doesn't look good for the interior O line either, especially like John Runyon's supposed to be more of a pass blocking, uh, you know, guard, and John Michael Schmitz has still not been that impressive. Another Joe Shane high draft pick, one that I was also rooting for too. Like I thought John Michael Schmitz in the second round was a steal. You know,
Yeah.
people wanted us to get him in the first. Greg Van Roten, I think, is a good 35-year-old stopgap to try to like
Yeah.
help this team from being a complete disaster. But yeah, there's
Right.
just a lot of just garbage. And then I see like Nick Gates celebrating with Saquon on the sidelines. And I'm like, Nick Gates, dude, I love him. Like he is some good young depth who played well for the Giants. Like, but Joe Shane, since he wasn't a part of like his original regime, tossed him to the side. It's like, dude, Ben Bredesen too, who I think originally Gettleman brought him in. He's playing on the Bucks. He was great for us on the interior too, younger. But
Yeah.
no, let's get 35-year-old Greg Van Roten instead. I don't know, whatever. And Greg Van Roten's been okay for us. I just Shane, I think I have more disgust for Shane than I do for Daboll at this point. That's because Daboll won us that season, won Coach of the Year with nothing.
Yep.
It's like, what have you been doing for us lately? I don't know if he has a good
Yep.
grasp in the locker room, but I don't want to talk all about the Giants like we suck. And a lot of this is just more season long thing than like week of.
Right.
So unless you have anything else to say, I think it's fair to move
No,
on.
I keep going back to the fact that they got Hard Knocks, and there was a lot of things that the public saw and heard that they probably shouldn't have. I wonder how much that also just like that's why I think Joe Shea gets fired. Also, just how stupid he sounded during the summer behind quote
Dumb.
unquote behind closed doors.
Yeah, he even could be scripted. Dude. He almost sounded like he knows less about football than me. like,
Yeah,
like to be honest, like
and they have
the players
and,
he's looking at, how he's looking at them. It
and
doesn't
the
look
team has and the
talk
team.
about film. You know? Yeah,
Yeah, his son knew. His son said
yeah,
Jaden Daniels. Not that
yeah. We couldn't do that. I think he knew that too. Yeah,
yeah. Um, but it's weird too because teams have final say of what gets in these episodes of Hard Knocks, and there were several things that Mara said that he said that were just like Dable too, in some ways that were just like wow. I don't know if that should be out there in the public, but alas, uh, keep on losing. Second pick, good hands. The only person, I mean, I think the Giants need a quarterback, and we talked about that a few days ago over text. Only person I think if I'm the Giants, I would look to get would be that's not a quarterback, would be Travis Hunter, but I think he will be the first pick, depending on who drafts.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
I don't even know. But
If
I
you're
think
the
you have to
Giants
get
and you can
quarterback.
get
Yeah.
him and have neighbors, although I think Hunter's going to have to pick a position.
Oh, he's
You
going to be
can't.
I think cornerback because he's amazing at
See, I think
cornerback, and then you just have him as
receiver
a package. Well, the thing is, he could play cornerback full time, but and still have packages at wide receiver. He can't play wide receiver
in
full
the
time and have
NFL.
packages at corner. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think it's. I think you just have to pick one. I don't think you can play both sides in the
I think he's
NFL.
good enough.
I think he's good. I think he's talented. It's not about the talent. It's just about the grind of the NFL and injuries.
True. That's true too.
So I don't know. We're
Yeah.
getting
One
ahead
of
of
my favorite
ourselves.
players of all time, Champ Bailey, dude. I mean, he did both in college, but just became the best corner in the NFL. But
The Bro
yeah, we are
Pepper
getting
said
ahead of
Michigan.
ourselves. Yeah.
Yep. Adoree Jackson,
Um,
USC.
yeah, and Adoree Jackson, it sucked yesterday. Had a terrible pass interference call.
Yep.
Yeah, and Deontay Banks. I didn't even talk about it, but yeah, Deontay Banks. It was like 3 catches in a row, and it was all covering different receivers. It was like Mike Evans, some random like 5th string receiver I saw, Sterling
Yeah.
Shepard. Yeah, it's just like it doesn't matter who he's covering. It's just he just can't get his eyes on the. I don't know. He can be in tight coverage, and he's just like unaware, like he's not looking at their eyes, and he doesn't get any pass breakups. Like it's just not looking good for Deontay Banks. Yeah, but let's move on to the Commanders Cowboys because I don't want to spend a whole hour talking about how shitty the Giants are, even though I could. I could.
Sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dallas leaves Jerry World, and they get a little bit of a spark. One of the more exciting games in a way. The Cowboys win against the Commanders 34-26. Yeah, there's definitely some of the most exciting plays I've seen in a game. Real quick, the game though was only 13-9 until 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and ends up being 34-26. Crazy work was done. The Kevontae Turpin 99-yard kick return was one of the coolest things. It's 2 weeks in a row that Kevontae Turpin is just putting on the Jets, making some people miss, looking like a superstar. I mean, I think every team wants a Kevontae Turpin on their team, especially when you can do that. Dropping the kick, picking it up. I saw Jaden Daniels' reaction. He's like, I agree. That was nuts. And then for the Commanders to come back with that Terry McLaurin game winner, and we could talk about that too. I don't know. Austin Seibert missed a couple kicks throughout the game. I feel like maybe you go for 2 and punch it. I guess you have more faith in your team than the Cowboys. But missing that kick sucked. And then obviously the touchdown by Juwanye Thomas on the onside kick failure, which I think that's how you say it.
It's close enough, yeah.
Yeah, it's a special team that I don't even know some Cowboys knew of. And then what the scary thing, which I didn't even really realize, is that the Commanders, when they're trying to come back in the last second, dude, Austin Eckler got put into the dirt, dude. Almost, yeah. But I think he's gonna be okay from what I read. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on this game, man?
Well, great game. I think Washington, they're sort of spiraling now. I guess 3 losses in a row. First one against Steelers, lost by a point at home. Respectable. Okay.
Yeah.
Next one, they get pretty much smacked by the Eagles Thursday night. This one, they come home, kind of a 10-day off thing, and lose to a bad Dallas team. Great game. I think this is a bad result for both teams. If you're Dallas, I think you want to keep on losing, and I don't think winning helps it with anything at this point.
But
Go ahead.
Maybe if you're Mike McCarthy and want to save your job, but
I was
but for the
about,
Dallas Cowboys long term, yeah.
I was about to say that. I was about to say, knowing Jerry and seeing how happy the sideline was in McCarthy, oddly enough, maybe that saves him his job. Now, of course, there's several more games, several more losses
Yeah.
Dallas can partake in. But
Yeah.
alas, we'll see. And if you're Washington, you need to win this game. And they made it interesting at the end. But, they were down 10 with 250 left. Then, somehow made it work a little bit defensively, field goal, and then obviously that 86-yard touchdown by McLaurin, which was wild. Yeah, can't miss the extra point. I think it's a good call. I don't think you go for 2 at home like that, but I just can't believe they missed the extra point. Bad
Yeah.
snap.
Austin Cyber, he's been pretty good throughout the year too.
Sure. Bad
From a
snap for sure. It seemed like Tressway did a good job of correcting it though, but not much time between that, and having to kick it off. So great game for sure. Dallas, Juanita Thomas or whatever returns it. Probably should have kneed it down because they're only up 8 after that. But
yeah.
I
But I
don't know if
think
he's
also you're like, this is my time to shine.
I don't know if he's going to
The
score a
losing Cowboys
touchdown
team.
either.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and kick returns off onside kicks don't happen often either. So
Mhm.
yeah, a lot of scoring at the end. People I think a lot of people had the under, of course, for this game, and that was smashed, of course. So really entertaining game. One of the better ones I think all year, to be honest. Just a wild ending. I think
Oh
that
yeah.
86-yard play, great ball by Jane Daniels, but like McLaurin did everything right on the route, on catching
Mhm.
it, on the angles he took right after. It was
Beautiful.
brilliant. I mean, he's such a great player. And yeah, they Washington 3-game losing streak. They they need to I'm not surprised, but I'm just surprised how many wins. I don't know if you agree, Sean. Just
Yeah.
how they went 7, whatever they did, 7-2 early on, and
And
looked
3 in a row.
looked good. I mean, they weren't a lot of teams they were beating weren't good, but Dallas isn't good
Mhm.
either. And
Yeah.
how it's sort of going in the other direction now for them. Of course, you found your quarterback, but and you could definitely use some more talent on offense, defense too next year. But yeah, it's interesting how just shows how long the NFL season is.
Yeah. They only have 5 games left, and I'm looking at them, and all of them are winnable. One of them is the Eagles. I was
Well, count that. I don't know if that's winnable for them.
But I mean,
It
it's
depends. It depends. Is it the last
yeah.
week of the season?
No. It's third. The last week of the season is Cowboys, who will probably be trying to play spoiler,
Yes.
for sure, which I think will be in the play. So it might be a very, very, very fun game. But let's talk about this game before we look ahead. Jaden Daniels honestly looked probably the best he has all season, especially since the rib injury. I know he has the 2 interceptions. One of them was off of a deflection. I think Zach Ertz and then the other one was a little bit of an uglier one. But he did it. He got it done on the ground, which he was the only Commanders player to get it done on the ground. 74 yards on 7 carries, 10 yards a carry. The other thing, yeah, I was kind of like, we've talked about this before. When the Cowboys run defense, and their run defense was playing well too. I'm not like the Cowboys run defense was shutting down Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson, nothing. Both of them averaged like less than 2.6 yards per carry on a 14 runs. So like, I guess that you can't keep pounding it, especially when you have Jaden Daniels. He could be explosive, but that's definitely an interesting little tidbit there. And then on the other end, Johnny Newton had a really nice played well, got a nice forced fumble on Rico Dowdle on the goal line with Bobby Wagner recovering it. So that's good to see, Johnny Newton. I know he had like that terrible offsides against the Eagles, right?
Yes.
Yeah. he's.
Steelers.
I mean,
Steelers.
yeah. Oh, was it? Yeah, Steelers. I remember it was one of the more recent losses.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it. I wouldn't even say that this exposed like the Cowboy or the Commanders defense, because if you look at this, I mean, 2 of the touchdowns were on special teams here.
True.
So if you take that away, and if Austin Seibert doesn't miss 2 of those kicks too,
Yeah.
you know,
There's a lot of what ifs, no doubt.
yeah, a lot of what, but also like when you're playing this Cowboys team who's looked awful and atrocious like that,
Yes.
there's a lot of people calling the Commanders frauds, and I mean they're right now currently in the 7th seed, I believe, so they're still in the playoffs, but
Right. Helps.
that could go either
Helps.
way.
Helps that the NFC also isn't as good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is very true. There's a lot of bad teams this year
And
too.
it helps that the NFC West is like canceling each other out since they're all like 5 and 6 or whatever.
I know, man. It's crazy seeing the Niners in the position that they are, but
Yeah. Yeah. I can't believe what team. Yeah, I forget, but yeah, the West is wild.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if this comment's accurate or not.
Yeah.
Daniel's statistically good. I don't know if I would say I guess this last touchdown, in a way it's kind of fluky. Also in a way I think McLaurin made the play.
Yeah, but he
It
also
gives
put
him
it
another
he put it right on him so that he could catch it in stride and make that play,
True.
That's my argument.
True. Schematically, I don't know what Dallas was doing. I don't know why there wasn't a tackler there to make a tackle either, which changes things. Also, yeah, I mean, he did that throw does keep them in the game for sure. It's just weird that once you miss a extra point, like the game's over. So I'll give it to him. Yeah, Washington just made too many mistakes throughout this game, like you noted, and that's
Yeah.
that'll be the difference in wins and losses. And too many mistakes, like they did, that'll you'll lose games. Any team, bad teams, definitely bad teams. Good teams still, and that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely brought the Commanders back down to earth too, because we were complimenting them for losing close games to good teams like the Steelers and the Ravens, and even
yeah.
the Eagles game. I think they definitely looked overpowered by the Eagles, but it was still a
Yep.
1-4 game. But losing this way to an awful Cowboys team is definitely kills a little bit of the hype, and also
Yeah. What they go into it? 10.5 point favorites.
yes, yeah. And then almost losing by 10 points. No bueno.
Yes.
But yeah,
At home.
Cooper Rush. Hey, you know what? He took advantage of the bad Commanders defense and the bad Commanders secondary.
Yes.
Looked pretty solid. Deron Bland's back. He didn't do anything, unfortunately, but he's back, so that's good to see. Especially as a Cowboys fan. But yeah, CeeDee Lamb, another one of those games where it's like he's good for my full point PPR fantasy, but 10 catches for 67 yards. Like it's just you want to see a little bit more explosion with the CeeDee Lamb.
You want the average per catch to be, I think, at least 4 yards higher. Yeah.
I mean, it worked out in this game, but yeah, I just feel like you're working with Cooper Rush. He did have a comment about how like he had to knock the rust off, considering like he hasn't played in forever and like he wasn't really expecting to play. I think that's fair.
Right.
I remember last year he played pretty well too in like his limited time. I remember he beat the Giants when I was like, "Oh, we get to play Cooper Rush. Man, this sucks. We won't even get to beat him. They'll have an excuse because they're playing Cooper Rush." No, Cooper Rush beat us, so
Yeah.
that was sick. And he'll probably beat us again on Thanksgiving, which is awesome. But yeah, other than that, I mean, Rico Dowdle, aside from that fumble, actually ran pretty well, efficiently.
Yeah, this was actually a week where quantity was there and quality was okay too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he ran hard. I think he, he's definitely the guy. Zeke Elliott, I don't even know why he's on the team. I don't even know if Dalvin Cook is still on the team, to be honest.
Yeah,
He's
it's
definitely not getting in.
so there's just so much crap in that backfield. It's funny. Sometimes looking at just like when we were like projecting this before the season,
Yeah.
sometimes they're wrong. But it just from the start, it's like how is like you just look at it and it's like this is might be the worst running back room in NFL history. There's just nothing, there's no talent. And yeah, Jerry
Yeah.
Jones told the world he was locked in on Jonathan Brooks. Not that it makes a difference because he's been hurt for most of the year. But
I think yesterday.
yeah. So
Yeah.
alas.
Yeah, I wanted to see this too because Austin Eckler had that bad concussion, and then Brian Robinson also was hurt. So I just kind of wanted to see
Mm-hmm.
if that means that next week against a really good. I mean, we're not in the recap yet, but against a really good Titans run defense, if it's going to be down to Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols, which McNichols has been playing well too, but you know.
Yeah.
Especially when you got the playoffs on the line, you got to win these games. And the Titans, I feel like, I mean, they were frisky as hell. They beat the Texans yesterday, helping us move one step up in the draft order. But
Yeah, that was
yeah,
crazy. I get that they're in
definitely.
the same division, but yeah, Titans beating it. Yeah, wild.
The Texans have honestly looked, and CJ Stroud has looked like
They're such a bland team this year. Yeah.
mediocre. Yeah, yeah. But let's get to the Eagles game. Unless you have anything else, you got.
No.
Cool. Well, I'll set you up and let you take this one away. But Sunday Night Football, the Philadelphia Eagles go to SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, and they beat the Los Angeles Rams with Saquon just freaking making a sick case for the first running back MVP in years. But
Yes.
I'll let you go. 37-20, Eagles over the Rams. Jeremy, take it away.
I think Saquon now is third favorite to win MVP. Yeah, just a great game. They played. They go into LA, playing a 5-5 Rams team who is more talented than their record. I'll pump the brakes a little. I don't want to act like the Eagles beat the best team ever. They're not. It's a really talented offense, though, with Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua. Stafford still can play decently in the pocket. And Cup, even though he's not the player he once was, still an awesome wide receiver too, threat, and will move the chains. Young pieces on defense too for the Rams that are awesome and whatnot. So you're going into the game and it's like you're assuming you're going to win, but it's a tough opponent. The line was 2.5, and it didn't really move. And the Eagles just abused the Rams on the ground. Slow start again. Halftime wasn't pretty. They had a nice touchdown to A.J. Brown to end the half, which I don't know if you saw, Sean.
I did.
What did you think? Do you think that's a catch?
I thought it was a catch.
I think it's a catch too, but I get it's weird. I guess the end zone's different where you just need 2 feet in ultimately, right?
Yeah, 2 feet in that football move, like he kind of turned.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think once you get to 2 feet, right? Because he had control, it got knocked out, so that's a forced fumble. You know, if he
But you also can't fumble in the end zone if you have 2 feet. And I think that's a good point. I think Gene Steratore mentioned that before they went to break before reviewing it. And I go, well, you can't fumble the ball if you catch it in the end zone and have 2 feet.
It's a touchdown.
It's a touchdown. So, I thought it was a touchdown. I understand if they didn't call. I don't know. Everybody's saying it's a touchdown. Maybe they're right, but alas, they and then Saquon takes over first play second half on a 70-yard touchdown run. Did again to end the game.
Another 70-yard, 2 70-yarders.
Yeah, the Eagles just wear down teams with their offensive line play. Officiating was just so awful. I it's not even. I'm not even looking to blame anyone because Eagles won handedly and whatnot. Around the league, it's a league issue. It's every year with the NFL. It's just it's such it's poorly officiated games left and right. And teams are losing. They don't need the officials' help or whatnot. They'll lose on their own too. But oh my god, there was a fumble on the opening drive. Sirianni throws a flag and they let a play go. And then they went back and they said, "Oh, okay, he challenged." But it was just wild. They called 2 pass
Yeah.
interferences, one on Isaiah Rodgers that wasn't pass interference. They called another one on Slay that wasn't pass interference. If they wanted to call a penalty, there were no penalties on that play. If they wanted to, these refs need to learn there is a difference between holding and defensive pass interference. Defensive pass interference puts the ball at the 1. So it gives them 30 yards essentially, those things. Instead, if you call something, it still wasn't holding, but call holding if they grab the jersey. It's not pass interference, it's holding. So that's something that's crazy. I think offsetting penalties are crazy if one
If
guy
one is more, yeah.
yeah, if 1 yard's different. That was insane. That made no sense either. Um yeah, but Eagles. I mean, the Eagles just Saquon's. He's awesome. I love it. Hurts played well. Statistically, nothing special. Protected the ball, which is good. That's the biggest thing for me. I thought he also had very good control of the offense throughout most of the second quarter on. Well, no, well, good, some of the first two. Um, and I think that he just played. This is one of the games where even though they didn't use him as much with the arm, I thought he was poised and was smart with the football. Opposed to other games where we've used him, he doesn't turn it over, but like he just looks uncomfortable stepping up, throwing it. Took a bad sack in the first quarter where I thought he didn't have to. Otherwise, I thought he was pretty much perfect with the game plan. When Saquon needs a breather, Kenny Gainwell comes up and he'll run for a touchdown. Nice change
Yeah.
of back.
Especially because they
Running
probably
back.
don't think they're running it with Kenneth Gainwell after like
Right.
Saquon's. They're like, "Ooh, finally, we don't have to defend the run for this play." And nope, you have to. And Kenny
Yeah, I
Gainwell
think
is
this offensive line is just very, very, very talented. It helps
right.
easier to
Here, you keep going.
block on the run. Um, and this is an offensive team that loves to run the ball. The offensive line is great, best in the NFL, and not to rub it in with Giants fans, but I think this is what it would have looked like with if Saquon ever had a decent offensive line. Um,
No, 100%.
AJ,
100%.
yeah,
I
AJ,
mean,
good
Saquon
game.
looks so good, so good. But
Yeah,
I do have a stat just to piggyback off what you were saying because I
let me
saw
hear
this
it.
about how good the Eagles' offensive line is. Football Focus posted this today. So Saquon Barkley has 616 rushing yards before contact, first in the
Yes,
NFL. He has 44.3% of yards coming before contact, first in
yes,
the NFL, and 2.8 yards per carry before contact, first in the NFL. Those are all O-line stats.
yep,
But what Saquon Barkley does afterwards, which I also saw a stat, he only needs to average 118 yards rushing a game to beat Eric Dickerson's record for the
correct.
rest of the season. Very doable. Not going to lie. I put a bet on Saquon Barkley's over rushing, and I was like over rushing and receiving because you know what? Like the receiving will help and the rushing will probably do it. You know,
Yeah,
that's easy. Wish I didn't parlay that with Dallas Goedert getting 50 yards because everything else freaking hit. But Saquon Barkley, he has the chance to break the rushing record. It's crazy that you guys are playing the Ravens next week. That's going to be the big storyline, you know, because Derrick Henry
yes,
hasn't played yet this week, but I think Saquon definitely has surpassed him, right? And the rushing has to have. Yeah.
yes, but it could be one of those things where one game, once they play it,
Yeah.
they
Shifts back,
retake. Yeah,
which is crazy. I was also looking at, and this just goes to the Joe Shane thing too, about like the whole running back. And I think it's funny because the whole league kind of agreed like aging running backs, you can get them in the draft, whatever. This year was like
yep.
one of the weaker running back drafts in a long time.
Oh
And
yeah,
then on top of that, all of like the big name running backs, a lot of them got re-signed. I was looking at like the top 5 rushing leaders. I believe it's Saquon, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, and I believe Kyron Williams. Let me just pull that back up. But 4 of those are all veterans and not like post 26 veterans
Yeah.
that change teams in the offseason. So I just think that's I want to look at this one more time just to make sure. Mm. Oh, Chuba Hubbard. Wait, was it Chuba Hubbard? Let me double
Resigns
check that.
this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Middle
Oh, well,
middle of
yeah,
this.
no, it did change. It did change. No, it wasn't no, it was Jahmyr Gibbs. I apologize. But still the top 3. The top 3
Yeah.
was yeah, was all of these veterans that move teams, you know?
Yeah.
So, very
What are the
interesting.
three? Jacobs, Henry, and Barkley.
And Barkley. Yeah, no, maybe something moved around throughout the day, but yeah. I think when I
Yeah.
looked at it, Aaron Jones was up there, but now Jahmyr Gibbs has surpassed him. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think it speaks to just speaks to how the best of the best are still going to get paid, and to really even though that it's a tough position to put money towards. If you have that talent, build around them, and I think the Eagles are fortunate because they're sort of perfectly built around Saquon. I guess with Baltimore, it's looking good there with Henry. They could use a few
Yeah.
more receivers, but even so, to power to Baltimore for I think having less talent with the receiving room and being able to still run it down other teams' throat. And Jacobs too. Just the best running backs in the league, I think, just have to get paid, assuming they're in a well organized system. And yeah, last offseason changes a lot of perspective for how NFL teams will go after the running back position.
Yeah. And then your defense is just like fully coming together. Milton
Yeah,
Williams too with the 2 sacks, man. Milton Williams looks good. That's the thing, dude. That's the defensive line depth. You guys have
yeah,
Jordan Davis, and you guys have Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter, like even when he's not getting sacks, he is applying that pressure and
oh yes,
allowing Milton Williams to get that sack.
yep.
He's
He gets
setting it
through
up.
first.
Yeah. And
Yep.
that's how you build a defensive line. You don't say, "Oh, we got Dexter Lawrence. That means that we can have a bunch of 7th-round scrubs surrounding him." No, that's not how you build
Yeah,
a defense. It's all in the trenches.
I'm scared. Yeah, you're right about that with the trenches, and I'm scared Bill Williams is going to play himself out of a contract here. I think someone's going to pay him more than we could afford. But yeah, guys like Ajomo too, Moro
Yeah.
Ajomo. Like it's all about having good young backup guys you don't have to pay who uh, fit the needs on your team, being powerful, speed, and yeah, Brandon Graham out for the year now with
I
torn
was just gonna say that.
biceps. That kills.
Awful,
He was
man.
great. Oh, that's unfortunate. I don't know how they're going to replace him. Um, they'll to see, but might need a little more on Nolan Smith going forward. Yeah, defense has been great, coverage has been great. Just a fast team. It's always funny because I think I've mentioned it here. The Eagles, it seems like every other year it switches with the defense. One year they're great or very good. The next year they're the worst in the league. It always seems like they're the worst in the league because they're just older. Youngest
Yeah.
defense in the NFL. It's only going to get younger now with Brandon Graham not playing, which is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, speed kills both sides of the ball, and when you have slow guys on defense like the Eagles had last year, uh, it gets ugly. And there's a reason why the last 2 months of the season, 6 weeks of the season, um, the Eagles I think were top 3 teams and worst teams in the NFL from mid-November on. And you could maybe argue that they were the worst, honestly. I don't know. I don't know if you count Carolina. Maybe they were playing better too at the end. But yeah, it just great job by Howie.
Yeah.
And good win. It's tough too because like you look at like I don't want to go ahead too much, but with the Ravens, it's like this is an acceptable loss in a way, but you still want to catch the Lions for the 1 seed ultimately. So
Oh
like you
yeah.
really just like you can't like it's an AFC game which don't count as much for tiebreakers and whatnot, and that is true. It's unfortunate though that they sort of have to keep the pedal to the metal and you know They're still a game behind Detroit, which is wild. Detroit's schedule gets harder. I also think their schedule overall this year has been pretty easy. But they have beaten up pretty hardly on pretty well on bad teams. But yeah, great game by the Eagles. I thought it'd be a little more of a throwing game for them. Obviously, when you have a guy like Saquon, it just seems every game is running, run, run, run. So,
Yeah, well,
um,
when you have 2 70-yard runs, like
yeah,
you gotta
yeah,
keep it going. And I'm
no
glad that they
doubt.
weren't like, "Oh, we got a little bit of a lead. Like, let's maybe like rest Saquon now." Like, and Saquon, he also got the franchise record for the most rushing yards in a game for an Eagle,
For an Eagle, yes.
and he threw the
Original
ball away.
record was 219 with LaShawn. Snowball game 2013 in Philadelphia against the Lions. And yeah, I think Saquon shared that by like 35, 36 yards.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I also there's another Saquon, which dude, I don't know. It just hurts. Like I was watching the game, I was like, yeah, I want to watch it. I want because I'm more in tune, and I liked watching division games regardless. But dude,
Yeah.
it hurts so much watching. Like I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if it's the best
Yeah.
like a
No.
good
Yeah.
decision for us as a team. Like, dude, and then the announcers always have to bring up like, well, it was probably good that the Giants didn't sign up, but it doesn't seem good today. They always have to bring up the Giants. It's never just about
That's
Saquon,
right.
dude. Especially Chris Collinsworth, dude.
It was,
I
it
always
was a
loved
Chris
him. But
Collinsworth
I'll tell
game,
you
dude.
what,
Right.
when Chris Collinsworth is talking negatively about your team or positively about teams that you hate, you kind of hate him.
Yes.
and I love Chris Collinsworth.
And he
There's a
was so negative. He was so negative about the Eagles for most of the game yesterday too. But yeah, if I were in your situation, I'd be a wreck. Because how
yeah,
many
it
times
sucks, dude. It
like
sucks so bad.
when we traded LaShawn McCoy for Kiko Alonso, that was the most idiotic thing ever. But at least LaShawn went to the Bills, where it was like, okay, we're never gonna play him. They're really irrelevant to us as a whole. We don't have any rivalry against Buffalo. Whatever. And just for Saquon to go to biggest rival team,
I'm just
I
saying.
it's just dreadful for the fan base. I mean, it really is. There's nothing you can do. It's just dreadful.
Dude, like I said, Leonard Williams goes off, Xavier McKinney goes off, and like Saquon Barkley all go off for career days yesterday. As the
Yeah,
Giants have maybe one of the most embarrassing losses, which is on the hands of the roster built by Joe Shane. Fire him. I mean,
it
John
makes
Mara, I don't even care. You have
yeah, I mean,
every excuse. Like, today is the day. Fire him. Fire him. Fire him.
it makes sense. It is consistent. I do think, in a way, in as positive a way for the Giants as you can get, assuming you fire Joe Shane too. You just see everything in front of you, and everything makes sense with why they are the way they are. It's not great. You don't want to be in this situation, but like, oh my god, it's not like a puzzle. Like I think Giants have sometimes been in situations where we're like, oh, we're just stuck on these few pieces, even though they're really not. They need more. You just gotta get new GM, new
Yeah.
blood, new ideas. This one. Not only is this one not working, the decisions he's making, they're making it worse. It's not even like they don't work, and you're still at one level. It's like you're starting here, and then you're going down. I've never seen it like this. Maybe it's happened
Mm.
before because we have full eyes on it, but just wild.
Yeah, it's definitely awful. Anyways, the Saquon Barkley thing. Through 11 games in a season. So this must have been posted before. Because
Yes,
he's had 12 games, right? Your bye hasn't happened yet? Or has it happened?
it has happened. Yes.
All right, never mind. That is probably post game. Yeah, through 11 games, he's sixth in scrimmage yards, 1,649. Nuts.
Okay.
And everybody ahead of him, well, two of the players ahead of him, Priest Holmes and Chris Johnson, won Offensive Player of the Year and MVP. So,
Interesting.
yeah. Oh, wait, no, LT
No,
won
no,
MVP.
yeah, I was gonna say. I was gonna say. I don't know.
Priest Holmes
who
never
else
won
won
MVP.
Right.
Yeah. But Priest Holmes, man, he was one of my favorite. Like, I've
He was
watched, like,
fun. Him and
I love
Dante
Priest Holmes.
Hall.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And they had Larry Johnson sitting behind him for a little bit, too, which is crazy.
Yes.
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 Anyways, talking about the good old football days makes me.
And I guess after
feel
Larry Johnson, That was Jamal Charles.
then Jamal Charles, and
Wow.
then Kareem Hunt. And then there was like kind of that lull. I guess I could say Pacheco. Yeah, but and then back to Kareem Hunt. I don't know.
Yeah, and then Curry Monica. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, it's I knew Saquon was a great player, but you're iffy because what you're basing things on is like his time in the NFL, and it's just like he didn't have much to show for him. Like, what is he going to look like? Obviously, you think he's going to look better with a good offensive line, but like, to what extent? And my golly, it's a big extent. Wow.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think we're an hour in. Maybe is there anything else you want to say about this game before we move on?
No, just in general. I get like I'm not here to boast in Giants fans. I feel bad. Maybe a few because
Thanks, man. Thank
a
you.
few that are just crazy. I just don't get the Giants pundits who still are on the thing where it's like it didn't make sense to pay Saquon. Well, at the end, yes, I guess, but like they should like even if you make that point, the reason why you couldn't pay Saquon is because of all the mistakes you made beforehand. It's all
Yeah.
related. If
No,
you
we should
build
have paid him when he wanted to get paid
yeah,
during the bye week, right before Thanksgiving,
oh yeah,
um, during our playoff run. Because he was playing well. He was still like the reason why we were going on that playoff run. I think you pay him. I think that's when you paid him. And
and
then
also like
last year, it's hard because we had him down year and he kind of struggled with injuries too. And
right, and the reason too, like Joe Shane didn't want to pay him because they had all that money invested in Daniel Jones. I guess in a way that makes there's some logic, but like don't pay Daniel Jones in the first. It's I don't get it. Don't pay Daniel Jones in the first place. And like, and don't have that be the reason why you don't keep like the reason why. Oh my god, it's all making sense now. The reason why you didn't pay resign Saquon is because you were paying Daniel Jones. It's just the worst thing I've ever heard.
yeah, and on
Oh my
top, like that's
god,
also one of the reasons why we don't keep Xavier McKinney either. You
yeah.
know,
And you knew
and
last
then,
year
like the
too.
Leonard Williams too. Like he had a
Yeah,
cap hit, and you know he's getting older too. Xavier McKinney's still super young, man,
yeah.
and like still hasn't hit his stride. I know that there's other things. Just
You knew
yeah.
last off season that Daniel Jones was bad. And there to stay bad. You knew you had the out. You knew that you just had one more year of him, and we're going to be done with it. And it's just it's rich outside of New York, and that's just like miserable. If you're, I mean,
Oh
that's
yeah, the
just
Giants are the
awful.
biggest laughing stock in the NFL
It's
right now.
just awful for
The biggest
for
laughing
like
stock.
the metropolitan area for New York. It's I mean, it seems like a joke. It seems made up in like a movie script, but it's real. It's yeah, it's just wild. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's let's get out of this sad reality and let's get into something a little more fantasy based. Jeremy and I have a fantasy football NFC East best ball competition. So that
Yes.
means we only drafted NFC East players. We do the best quarterback, two best running backs, two best wide receivers, best flex, best tight end, and it's half point PPR. I'm using the ESPN scoring on this one. Jeremy, any predictions as to who won this one? Considering you have almost every Eagle player and I have almost every Giant player.
I have a lot of my guys down. I think. Did you give me
Cooper Rush.
not Cooper? Yes. Okay. So he
I
actually
did give you Cooper
outperformed.
Rush.
You did
Yeah,
or no?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah, yeah.
Because
Because I got Tommy DeVito.
he actually
Yeah,
outperformed Jalen Hurts, which is no
yeah. I
tush
did.
push, no tush push for Hurts this week.
I
Uh,
didn't know if you know that, but yeah, I was surprised. But yeah,
I was doing the math. McLaurin, obviously the last one of the last plays of the game was big. Gainwell, nice little 8-piecer. Saquon 45.2.
yeah.
Ertz just under 13. I think my wide receiver 2 gave me point 0.9 with Dotson. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got a little more.
No, you had De'Ami Brown came up with
Oh yeah, he actually got yeah, what did he get?
4.6. It wasn't much,
Yeah,
but
he
hey,
I but
I
did
the
he have like
go team.
at least 3 catches?
Yeah, but I don't know what you're using, Jeremy, because you
No, no,
sent
no,
me
no, no,
yours.
no, no, no. I'm not saying at least. I'm saying I was watching the game. That point was just the fact that like De'Ami Brown was used so much. So I'll take it.
Yeah, yeah. No, but I was looking at your scores and like the
Yes,
ESPN that I was using, and they're definitely. I don't know if you
they're
use
different.
ESPN.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely a little different. But let me just go through the line here, and then we. So
please
my
do.
team reads as follows: Jaden Daniels was my QB1 over Tampa
Good
Devito.
week.
Who'd have thought? 30,
Yeah.
30.4, despite the two interceptions, 32.4 fantasy points. Running back one was Rico Dowdle with the fumble, still gets 9.3. With Tyrone Tracy's fumble out of contention, Devin Singletary with his touchdown gets me 8 as my RB2. Wide
Mm,
receiver one, AJ Brown, expected 19.9.
yeah.
Wide receiver two, CD Lamb with 11.8. My tight end was Theo Johnson with 5.4, and my flex was Malik Neighbors with 9.4, giving me a total of 94.2 points. Which, if Saquon Barkley, which on mine I have him for 44.2, so that's
Okay.
just, that's with that, you only need 50 points from the remainder to beat me, but spoiler alert, you did. Quarterback is Cooper Rush, like you said, which I was surprised.
Yes.
Outplays Jalen Hurts, 17.98 on here. We got Saquon Barkley, RB1, and also fantasy player one for like multiple weeks now. I don't know how many times whenever I pull up the fantasies, it's always Saquon and Jaden Daniels. They're usually, or Jalen Hurts. They're all
Yes.
not any Giants. Saquon Barkley, 44.2. Your RB2 was Kenny Gainwell with 8.2. Wide receiver one was
Yes.
Terry McLaurin, like you said, with 18.7. Wide receiver two, De'Ami Brown, as we said, with 4.6. Tight end was Zach Ertz with 12.8. And your flex was Dallas Goedert with 3.9, giving you a total of 110.38.
Okay.
And
Good
we
matchup.
usually take shots, but I have a bunch of stuff to do today, so I can't take a shot right now. It's still pretty early. Uh,
Good week.
all right. Good week. Yeah. Good
Good
fantasy
scoring.
week.
Yeah, good scoring. You're
Yeah.
it's amazing how your receivers really keep you in. Um
Yeah.
like even with like a quarterback situation where like with Rush, CD's still like it would be easy to see a clunker like a 3.5, 4.5 point week. And
hmm
yeah, interesting.
Even Malik Neighbors, dude. Malik Neighbors, like, he should be getting force fed the entire game and not just the second half. But,
Yeah, I agree.
you know, even with terrible quarterback play, superstar wide receivers should still, you know, contribute.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I guess on to the previews. And we got a Thanksgiving slumber stinker. The Giants play on Thanksgiving at, I believe it's what? Is it 4:30 Eastern time? 4:30 Eastern time. 3:30 Central time, which is where I am in Nashville. And the Giants play the Cowboys in Jerry World. It's going to be, as of right now, Tommy DeVito hasn't been totally cleared because he took a shot, but
Right.
it sounds like he will be the starting quarterback. Cooper Rush, coming off of their big win against the Commanders, will be the starting quarterback for the Cowboys. Giants' run defense sucks just as much as I think the Cowboys' defense sucks. Earlier this year at MetLife, also in prime time, because we have to put these awful teams in prime time all the time because they're two big franchises. But the Giants lost to the Cowboys just 20-15. I think, despite how awful the Giants looked, I think last week might have been a little bit of an outlier for the Cowboys. I think the Giants could win this game, and that's hard to say based on what I'm saying. I thought we were going to beat the Bucks. I was like, man, I have a bad feeling we're going to beat the Bucks and screw our draft position. I would have rather have that than the misery that I suffered yesterday, especially because I'm going to be with family. I'm going to be with friends. I'm going to have to hear it.
Yes.
Oh, what's wrong with it? Everything is wrong with the Giants. You want to talk about it? I talk about it all the time. Listen to the podcast. Dude, it's just, man,
Uh,
dude. All right, Jeremy, you want to guess the spread on this one? Because this one's going to be ugly.
sure. Uh, oof. I guess it's weird since they don't know it's Devito, but they're expecting it's Devito. Um, uh, can I ask a question and maybe you answer, maybe you don't?
That's fair.
Did Vegas over? Do you think Vegas overreacted based on both teams' outcomes yesterday?
I think so. Yeah.
Uh, Dallas minus 6.5.
Oh no, not that much. Only minus
Really?
4.
4.
Yeah, but I still think without bad. I mean, I guess that just shows. I think if the Giants didn't lose as bad, like if the spread was posted last week, I think it might have been like a -1. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean the home thing.
going
I
into that
guess I think people have like said the whole 3 points at home is a little phony. Now it's more like 1.5 possibly,
game.
but
Yeah,
um, yeah, I was debating between 5.5 and 6.5, and interesting
yeah.
4. That
Just
is,
opening
yeah,
up at 4. Very low over under with 37.5. Which you know what? Just for the people and everybody saying like that's their nap game.
yeah,
Let's
that
just hit
is.
the over. Both defenses look like garbage. Like, let's just have a high scoring, fun game, please. I don't even like. I still, I said that I wanted the Giants to win this one. I'll tell you what though, because as much as this is a preview, nobody actually really cares about the outcome for playoff things. But
Yeah,
if the Giants lose in embarrassing fashion again, I think Brian Daboll is out the door. I don't care that John Mara said he has one more year guaranteed. I think
yeah,
Brian Daboll is out the door. You can't. Not on prime time.
maybe.
Thanksgiving, embarrassing. I think it's going to be a Black Friday for Brian Daboll if that is the
It's
case.
tough though because if you're the Giants right now, the whole point going forward is to lose, and obviously you don't want to be quote unquote embarrassed. But if Dable's losing these games, he's technically doing the job that they want and need. Because I do agree at this point, lose out makes sense. So yeah, weird situation for sure.
Yeah. I will say, somebody's embarrassing streak should come to an end here because the Cowboys have like what trailed by 20 in every home game. They're going to
Right.
be at home. Giants haven't held the lead since week freaking 4, I believe. Yeah, week 4. Yeah. Um, no, week 5 because it was right after the Cowboys game because it was without Malik Neighbors. Since week 5, haven't held a lead. So one of those streaks are going to come to an end. You know.
You haven't led since week 5 in a game at all.
Yeah, since week
Oh
5.
my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Mm, yeah. And like I said, also like this is like Shane Bowen. I hope you
Yeah.
know this. You probably won't be the Giants' defensive coordinator next year, but not having an interception in 10 games is the NFL record. So if you don't get one on Thanksgiving, you're going to go down in history as one of the worst defensive coordinators. Just saying. So
There you go.
maybe aim like really like practice the tip drill all freaking 3 days, man. Practice the tip drill. All right, dude. Like, and I didn't even talk about that fumble that happened to the Giants. Dude, that fumble where the Giants could have recovered it. Brian Burns is just standing right over it, and then
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield's like, "Oh shit, the ball's out." Like that was just dumb, dude. Dumb,
Yeah.
dumb, 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 dumb.
Yep.
But yeah. So let's get an interception. Tyrone Tracy, how about you don't fumble the ball?
Yep.
Tyrone Tracy, let's like you weren't really broken out at this time that we played the Cowboys last, but let's see it. Let's see
Yeah.
a game where like you're gonna be on
Make a
national
play.
television. Everybody, even people that don't care about football, are gonna be watching this game and be like, "Oh, that Tyrone Tracy guy." Make a name for yourself, Malik Neighbors. Make a name for yourself for people that don't already know. Like, and on the Cowboys, since we both teams, Rico Dowdle. Maybe make people think, oh wow, is Rico Dowdle good? I haven't been watching the Cowboys. I thought they didn't have a running game. Like, try your best. I mean, I don't know, dude. Predictions here. I think I would do Giants +4. I would. I think they're going to be competitive, but I could also see the Giants just completely falling apart and collapsing because this team sucks. But Jeremy, what are your thoughts?
This is everybody watching. This is your sleep game. If you just love football, go for it.
I do.
Uh,
And I'm cooking too, which sucks, dude. I'm
oh
gonna
wow,
like.
there you go.
I hate cooking during the game, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
it's
to.
tough.
I'm in charge.
Um, Dallas is so bad. Nah, I'm gonna go Dallas -4. Part of me wants to go Dallas outright, Giants cover, but that would require the Giants to play a pretty good game with the line, and I just don't see it. So I'm gonna go Dallas. Yeah, I'm gonna go Dallas -4. I'm sorry. I tried.
That's okay. You know what, Jeremy? We're here to be authentic and real,
That's right.
So I respect that. It is cool because like my team plays in the midday and then Coral's team, my lovely, amazing partner, plays at the night game. So that'll
There
be
you
cool.
go.
Get to see the Packers Dolphins. And the Dolphins have been frisky, so it'll actually be a good game. I'm glad
Yeah,
that the Dolphins
little health.
played to
Yep.
make it more exciting.
Mhm.
Next game on the bracket is the Tennessee Titans coming off a big divisional win against the Texans, going to FedEx Field and playing the Washington Commanders. Do you want to guess this spread, Jeremy?
Sure. Let's go Washington minus. I want to ask the same question I did with the. I'll go Washington -4.5.
Close, 5.5. 5.5. Which, I think Washington, I'll tell you what. I know that Washington's been hot and like they lose to that Commanders team. But if you look at their strengths, Washington's been running the ball really well. Like I said, we don't know just yet, but Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson might both be out. Titans' run defense is really good. Titans' defense is actually really good in general.
Yeah, they're like top. They're one of the. Maybe I'm wrong. They've statistically, defensively, I heard they're like up there for the best.
Yeah. No, I don't know the exact numbers, but I just know like they have some monsters on the D line with Devondre Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons leading the charge, and Harold Landry has been really good too. And yeah, they've been good. And then L'Jarius Sneed was a great pickup, and then that Ernest Jones, that guy, the linebacker that they got from the Rams, playing really well. So I don't know. And then like the Commanders' defense has been playing above their belt for sure, and like Will Levis is prone to make some mistakes. I think ultimately I'm going to go Commanders -5.5. They're at home. They've been playing well at home. Oh, aside from last week. But, I'm going to go Commanders here. I think Jaden Daniels, he's hearing that hype, He's hearing all that hype about Bo Nix, and he's like, no, I'm not surrendering my Rookie of the Year crown. And also, like I said, they have 5 games remaining, and this is going to be this is probably their biggest, easiest win on paper, in terms of getting towards a playoff spot. So I think that Dan Quinn knows that. I think that Cliff Kingsbury knows that. I think the whole team knows it. And I think they'll be playing hard. So I'm going to go Commanders -5.5. Jeremy, your thoughts?
I wish I would do Washington, and I would take the points with Tennessee. I would take Washington outright. Take the points with Tennessee. I just don't see Tennessee's offense I just don't think they're good enough for that. So I'll agree with you. I'll take Washington -5.5. Not pretty though. It's weird because this makes sense for a game to stop the bleeding, but so did the Dallas game, and now they're bleeding even more. I think I'll still go Washington -5.5, but it'll be close. I think in an ugly way.
And this, I mean, maybe it's definitely recency bias, because if you asked me this 2 weeks, I would be like, easy win. But there's a lot of crazy upsets yesterday, and the Titans game and the Commanders game, I think, being the 2 biggest shockers. So I could easily see the Titans winning. Anything else you want to talk about this game?
No, I don't think so. Not that inspiring. I think it could be bad.
Yeah, I agree. And then I think probably in my opinion, the best game. I don't know if you want to. I'll ask you one more time. The spread: the Philadelphia Eagles go to the Baltimore Ravens in the middle day slate of 4:25 Eastern time. Jeremy, take it away.
I'll go Baltimore. Baltimore -2 is intriguing, but I'll go Baltimore -2.5.
Ringer, you got it, dude. You
Really?
got it. That's the spread. That's the spread.
2.5.
2.5. I mean, dude, I think you take. I mean, I always try to buy a point on stuff like that because if it does
Yes.
get that close, but I
Yeah.
would go Eagles. I could see Eagles money line, but I'd definitely go Eagles plus 3.5, dude. I'd buy a point on that for sure. But yeah, Jeremy, this is your team. I'll let you take this preview away here.
They've won 7 weeks in a row. They're playing a good team. They're playing a quarterback that I think can give them a lot of trouble with his legs. I think that his arm is also talented where if they're calling pass interferences left and right, that could be a problem too. Oh, it's in Baltimore. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles won. They're a better team than Baltimore, in my opinion. I just think this might be the game to, break things up a little, hopefully in a good way going forward. And I will take the Ravens outright. I guess, and I'll take them at 2.5 because it gives me the field goal for the push, I guess. So yes, I'll do that. But what I'd probably do is like what you said, Sean, is I'll probably buy points in favor of the Eagles and try to see if I could get something creative there where Eagles plus 3.5 plus or something of that nature for sure. Yeah. If there's value.
Yeah. And I think like I was saying earlier, it's the battle of the two leading running backs. Two running backs that could both take the rushing title this year, which is super exciting. And yeah, I think it will be a game ultimately decided on the ground. Who knows? It's December 1st, too, so it could be another snow game, which would be sick. Which would be really sick. I would love that. Yeah, I think that the Eagles' defense has been playing better than the Ravens' defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Eagles still have more weapons on offense. Regardless, they have the better O-line, although the Ravens' O-line are definitely pretty solid, too. Yeah, I'm just going to go Eagles on this. I think the Eagles are coming in hotter. I think that we'll see the Ravens play tonight. The Harbaugh Bowl, which I'm really stoked to watch. But
yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean the Ravens they're coming in angry, so we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I agree with what you said. I think the Eagles are a better team overall. It's just tough to keep it going when you play a team like that. In Baltimore, a quarterback that I think I think that's a recipe to beat these Eagles team as a quarterback like Lamar Jackson. We'll see. They'll have to game plan strategically, but yeah, that should be a good game for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Anything else before we wrap things up here, Jeremy?
No, I think that's it.
All right, I agree. Well, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. There's a lot to be thankful for, even if you're a Giants fan. Like our draft pick next year. That's something you can look forward to. Maybe. I don't know, man, because we still keep screwing up these drafts, man.
I am thankful for Saquon Barkley, if that makes you feel better.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what you're thankful for, but that's good. Yeah, I was kind of assuming that'd be the answer.
Ask me now.
What are you thankful for,
Saquon Barkley.
Good. I'm glad it didn't change in the 0.2 seconds between you saying it the first time. I'll tell you who I'm not thankful for. Joe Shane, and multiple other things. But
yes.
You know what, guys, enjoy your family, enjoy your food, and hopefully enjoy a nice, beautiful Thanksgiving game between the awful Dallas Cowboys and the
throw the pigskin around a little bit.
Giants. Oh yeah, spin that. I'm like getting my ball prepped up for Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited. I think I'm doing a ham and a turkey.
No injuries this
time. No, man, dude, my ankle still hasn't really fully recovered, to be honest.
Okay.
But yeah, as always, guys, like and subscribe. Tell us how awful we are. Tell us how great we are, and we will see you next time. Happy Thanksgiving.